truth seekers are constantly studying alone. But there is a place where we can come together. The Digital Readers Club is our online ecclesia meant for those who've forsaken churchianity, but still want the closeness of a family to study with. Join us every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time to put together the puzzle pieces of truth scattered throughout the ancient scriptures.
We have the whole
Right.
thing. It's like half our living room.
That's great.
So
Well, we definitely look forward to seeing that tonight. But welcome everybody to the Digital Readers Club. I'm your host for tonight, Justin James Garcia. I do want to welcome everybody that's joining in the YouTube live stream, as well as everyone over here in the Discord server. If you haven't already, please do check out the description box below the video, where you can find our live studies every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We do go through various extra biblical and ancient biblical texts. Tonight we're going to be continuing our study through 2nd Esdras, also known as 4th Ezra, or the Hebrew Apocalypse of Ezra. So a really interesting book. It was a part of the original King James Bible that was published in 1611, and that is why it's in our collection of the 1611 King James Apocrypha, a title that is available at sacredwordpublishing.com. But anyways, I want to welcome everybody that's joining over here in Discord. How's it going, Clark, Davo, Justin, Mac, Marvelly, Noble, Lisa, Sharon? Awesome to see you all tonight.
Hi guys.
Welcome, Davo.
Shalom, Justin.
Hi, Marvelly. It's great to see you again.
Hello. Oh,
Hi,
thank you so much.
everybody.
It's good to be here.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Sharon?
Or should we say shaloha?
Aloha. There we go.
Aloha. What's going on, Justin, Mac,
Aloha.
Clark? Great to see you.
Still the
Good to see you,
buzzword.
Justin. Good to be here.
Yeah, looking forward to the reading tonight. We just have 2 nights or 2 weeks left. This is our first to last week of second to last. Sorry, I forgot how the saying went. The second to last week of 2nd Esdras. So it'll be interesting, and then we'll be starting up with Tobit. A really cool read as well. This has been a really interesting text. I know we did go through it, I don't know, maybe a little over a year ago in the Great Commission 3, but I think that's really interesting. Honestly, when we read through it, I don't remember going through it the first time. It's been a lot of fun. How's everybody's week been? Anybody catch the news of what Joe Biden has said?
Yeah, but more importantly, where's the other grandpas in?
That's a really good question. There's a UFC fight or something going on.
Oh, priorities. Okay, we see where we fit.
We're really excited here in Hawaii because we finally have no mandate anymore
That's
to enter
great.
businesses. Yay!
Woohoo!
Praise Abba.
It's crazy.
And
It's
it's
taken
supposedly
that
lifted.
long.
I know, isn't that nuts? I mean, and then it's still like, okay, so it's an option. They always keep putting it out there. It's an option now. So if you feel safer with it on, like,
Not that it
it's,
ever did anything to begin with.
yeah, it still is required inside buildings in the schools, but at least
Really?
not businesses. We can go eat at restaurants again. That's an actual nice thing.
Congratulations.
There he is.
Grandpa
Son
has
made it.
arrived.
Hi, Zen.
I think your mic might be very low volume, Dad. Turn off the dictate
Sorry,
sound.
I had to get it all fixed up, but good to be here with everyone.
Yep.
Shalom.
Great.
Good to be here with everyone.
Yeah.
There we
Good
go.
to be here.
All right.
Yeah, so I saw today that apparently Biden has said that there will be food shortages. So it's something to prepare for, I suppose. Definitely encourage you have the means to try to get a little bit of food for yourself and your family. I just see the way that it's going. It's trending. there's gonna be rations. You know what I mean? Eventually,
Mhm.
eventually somebody's gonna have to take the mark of the beast. All this
Well,
infrastructure.
they paid all the farmers to destroy their crops over the course of this season.
That's right.
Which it does remind me that I just found this new company that makes plant-based, organic, dehydrated food, and like some of their meals are Irish shepherd pie and Hungarian goulash. It's like all these international meals that are the favorites in the world. So I'll put a link in the in the Discord for people that are interested. I just ordered some myself and we're gonna try it out. I gave some to Justin and Joy and we're gonna try it ourselves and we'll let you know how it is.
Sounds tasty.
Yeah, sounds
thank you,
good.
Zam. We'll
No, it
check it
wasn't
out.
that pricey at all. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but right now they're new and there is a discount and yeah, all plant based, no meats, and it sounds really delicious,
It's just
like
freeze
curries
dried,
and
you
stuff
said?
and everything. Yeah, it's yeah, freeze dried.
Nice.
Yeah,
And freeze dried food
but I'll look for links.
lasts such a long.
Very long time.
Our
Yeah.
midwife just got a freeze dryer, and she's been freeze drying everything. Last time we went and saw her
Oh, wow.
for our checkup, she had freeze dried guacamole. And you can
Nice.
freeze dry anything, I guess.
That's
All you gotta
awesome.
do is add some water, and you got fresh guacamole.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
I think
Yeah,
good.
you can
Justin's
freeze
right
dry
about
milk.
the food. Yeah, I think there will be shortages, supply chain, all that, and everything.
Yeah, it's crazy that a president said we're gonna have food shortages. All because
Mm,
trying to punish Russia.
mm.
Any sense to me? Crazy.
Scapegoat number one. Russia's just the world's scapegoat.
All of this.
Right.
They
Yeah,
can
for
blame
right now.
everything. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really crazy. So,
I've been well with the New World Order.
what's the gas
Exactly.
prices like over there in Hawaii?
The lowest price that we've found right now on the island is, I think, $4.98. But the average price, if you don't go looking for it, it's about $5.50. How about for you guys, Marvelly, Maui?
That was on Maui, which was kind of strange. Before we went to the hotel last weekend, it was $4.99 a gallon for regular unleaded.
Yeah.
And then we came back from Kapalua on Sunday and filled up the car, and it was $4.69.
Wow.
So, I know, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's where we're at.
Oh, okay. So it's a little
Somebody
bit less.
said we buy. Yeah, it's a little bit less, but somebody says Hawaii gets our gas directly from Russia. I
Oh.
don't. I have no idea.
No, everything comes here on container ships. That's the main thing that happens. We are like pretty dependent on outside sourcing as far as food. That's why it's good to prepare, start growing our
Yes.
own.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah, that's
really
so
good point.
true.
Go a long way. So what about you, Brother
Yes.
Clark? Over there in Cali, I think y'all have even higher prices, right?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Yeah, we're hovering, I think, over $6 everywhere for a gallon of gas.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
everything's going up, Yeah, there's less and less on the shelves. Yeah, there's less on the shelves, and the people are conditioned, even without. I mean, it's great, Lisa. You don't have to go around. I know I feel the same way, but you feel bad seeing everyone so conditioned, scared to go without it. It's like,
I
kinda
can't stand
heartbreaking.
seeing the children muzzled.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful day. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful day
Yes,
here, man.
yes,
I mean, it's
spring.
gorgeous. I mean, I'm so thankful. It's
Yeah.
just beautiful, man.
Yeah, the springtime has definitely arrived. We're having some beautiful weather. And looking forward. We got all of our fruit trees are starting to bloom and buds are growing, all the leaves are coming back and all the bees are back already. It's yeah, way to keep it positive, Brother Clark. Way to turn it around there. So yeah, it is 8:12. We're gonna go ahead and say a quick prayer, and then we'll get into the reading for tonight. Thank you again, everybody, for joining the study. And if you haven't already, please do join us over here on the Discord server where you can read and study with us. And afterwards, at 9 p.m., directly after this study is done, Biblical Hebrew class will be taking place, led by Brother Noble and Sister Lisa George and their son Isaac. I will say a quick prayer. Father Yahuwah, we humble ourselves before you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to join with this family, to have this ecclesia of individuals who are really seeking truth, seeking to understand the ancient manuscripts, and just looking to fellowship with people who want to know these types of scriptures and secrets that have been removed or hidden, that it's the honor of kings to search out these things that have been hidden away. So grateful. Be part of this holy priesthood and the Melchizedekian order that you have continued on to carry the testimony of the Messiah of salvation. Praise you. Thank you so much for sealing your testimony in our hearts. Thank you, and yeah.
Amen.
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 All right, Brother Clark, it looks like you are first up for the reading tonight. Do you mind starting out at 4th Ezra, chapter 11?
Certainly. For Ezra 11. Then saw I a dream, and behold, there came up from the sea an eagle, which had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads. And I saw, and behold, she spread her wings over all the earth, and all the winds of the air blew on her, and were gathered together. And I beheld, and out of her feathers there grew other contrary feathers. They became little feathers and small, but her heads were at rest. The head in the midst was greater than the other, yet rested it with the residue. Moreover, I beheld, and lo, the eagle flew with her feathers, and reigned upon earth, and over them that dwelt therein. And I saw that the things under heaven were subject unto her, and no man spake against her. No, not one creature upon earth. And I beheld, and lo, the eagle rose upon her talons, and spoke to her feathers, saying, Watch not all at once, sleep every one in his own place, and watch by course. But let the heads be preserved for the last. And I beheld, and lo, the voice went not out of her heads, but from the midst of her body. And I numbered her contrary feathers, and behold, there were 8 of them. And I looked, and behold, on the right side there arose 1 feather, and reigned over all the earth. And so it was, that when it rained, the end of it came, and the place thereof appeared no more. So the next following stood up, and reigned, and had a great time. And it happened that when it rained, the end of it came also, like as the first, so that it appeared no more. Then came there a voice unto it, and said, Hear thou that thou hast borne rule over the earth so long, this I say unto thee, before thou beginnest to appear no more, there shall none after thee attain unto thy time, neither unto the half thereof. Then arose the third, and reigned as the other before, and appeared no more also. So went it with all the residue, one after another, as that every one reigned, and then appeared no more. Then I beheld, and lo, in process of time, the feathers that followed stood up upon the right side, that they may rule also. And some of them ruled, but within a while they appeared no more. Ask.
For some of them were set up, but ruled not. After this I looked, and behold, the 12 fathers appeared no more, nor the 2 little feathers. And there was no more upon the eagle's body, but 3 heads that rested, and 6 little wings. Then saw I also that 2 little feathers divided themselves from the 6, and remained under the head that was upon the right side, for the 4 continued in their place. And I beheld, and lo, the feathers that were under the wing thought to set up themselves, and to have the rule. And I beheld, and lo, there was one set up, but shortly it appeared no more. And the second was sooner away than the first. And I beheld, and lo, the 2 that remained thought also in themselves to reign. And when they so thought, behold, there awaked one of the heads that were at rest, namely it that was in the midst, for that was greater than the 2 other heads. And then I saw the 2 other heads were joined with it, and behold, the head was turned with them that were in it, and did eat up the 2 feathers under the wing that would have reigned. But this head put the whole earth in fear, and bare rule in it over all those that dwelt upon the earth with much oppression, and it had governance and the world more than all the wings that had been. And after this I beheld, and lo, the head was in the midst suddenly appeared no more, as the wings, but there remained the 2 heads, which also in like sort ruled upon the earth, and over those that dwelt therein. And I beheld, and lo, the head upon the right side devoured it, as was upon the left side. Then I heard a voice which said unto me, Look before thee, and consider the thing that thou seest. Pass.
And I beheld, and lo, as it were, a roaring lion chased out of the wood. And I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle, and said, Hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee, Art not thou it that remainest of the 4 beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? And the 4th came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. And so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. For the earth hast thou not judged with truth, for thou hast afflicted the meek, thou hast hurt the peaceable, thou hast loved liars, and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and hast cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm. Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up unto the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty. The highest also hath looked upon the proud times, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. And therefore appear no more, thou eagle, nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws, nor all thy vain body, that all the earth may be refreshed, and may return, being delivered from thy violence, and that she may hope for the judgment and mercy of him that made her. Pass.
Justin, you can go ahead.
4th Ezra chapter. It came to pass, while the lion spake these words unto the eagle I saw, And behold, the head that remained and the 4 wings appeared no more. And the 2 went into it and set themselves up to reign, and their kingdom was small and full of uproar. And I saw, and behold, they appeared no more, and the whole body of the eagle was burnt, so that the earth was in great fear. Then awaked I out of the trouble and trance of my mind, and from great fear, and said unto my spirit, Lo, this hast thou done unto me, and that thou searchest out the ways of the highest. Lo, yet am I weary in my mind, and very weak in my spirit, and little strength is there in me, for the great fear wherewith I was afflicted this night. Therefore will I now beseech the highest, that he will comfort me unto the end. And I said, Lord that bearest rule, if I have found grace before thy sight, and if I am justified with thee before many others, and if my prayer indeed be come up before thy face, comfort me then, and show me, thy servant, the interpretation and plain difference of this fearful vision, that thou mayest perfectly comfort my soul. For thou hast judged me worthy to show me the last times. And he said unto me, This is the interpretation of the vision. The eagle whom thou sawest come up from the sea is a kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel. But it was not expounded unto him. Therefore now I declare it unto thee. Behold, the days will come, that there shall rise up a kingdom upon the earth, and it shall be feared above all the kingdoms that were before it. And the same shall 12 kings reign one after another, whereof the second shall begin to reign, and shall have more time than any of the 12. And this do the 12 wings signify which thou sawest. As for the voice which thou heardest speak, and that thou sawest not to go out from the heads, but from the midst of the body thereof, this is the interpretation. That after the time of that kingdom there shall arise great strivings, and it shall stand in peril of failing. Nevertheless, it shall not then fall, but shall be restored again to its beginning. And whereas thou sawest the 8 small under feathers sticking to her wings, this is the interpretation. That in him there shall arise 8 kings, whose time shall be but small, and their years swift. 2 of them shall perish, the middle time approaching. 4 shall be kept until their end begin to approach, but 2 shall be kept unto the end. And whereas thou sawest 3 heads resting, this is the interpretation. In his last days shall the Most High raise up 3 kingdoms, and renew many things therein. And they shall have the dominion of the earth, and of those that dwell therein, much oppression, above all those that were before them. Therefore they called the heads of the eagle S. Sister Marvelly, would you mind? Yep.
Yes, thank you. For these are they that shall accomplish his wickedness, and that shall finish his last end. And whereas thou sawest that the great head appeared no more, it signifieth that one of them shall die upon his bed, and yet with pain. For the 2 that remain shall be slain with the sword, for the sword of the one shall devour the other, but at the last shall he fall through the sword himself. And whereas thou sawest 2 feathers under the wings passing over the head that is on the right side, it signifieth that these are they whom the highest had kept unto their end. This is a small kingdom and full of trouble, as thou sawest. And the lion, whom thou sawest rising up out of the wood, and roaring, and speaking to the eagle, and rebuking her for her unrighteousness with all the words which thou hadst heard. This is the anointed, which the highest had kept for them, and for their wickedness unto the end. He shall reprove them, and shall upbraid them with their cruelty. For he shall set them before him alive in judgment, and shall rebuke them and correct them. For the rest of my people shall he deliver with mercy, those that have been pressed upon my borders, and he shall make joyful unto the coming of the day of judgment, whereof I have spoken unto thee from the beginning. This is the dream that thou sawest, and these are the interpretations. Thou only hast been meet to know this secret of the highest. Therefore write all these things that thou hast seen in a book, and hide them, and teach them to the wise of the people, whose hearts thou knowest may comprehend and keep these secrets. But wait thou here thyself yet 7 days more, that it may be showed thee, whatsoever it pleaseth the highest to declare unto thee. And with that he went his way. And it came to pass, when all the people saw that the 7 days were past, and I not come again into the city, they gathered them all together, from the least unto the greatest, and came unto me and said, What have we offended thee? And evil have we done against thee, that thou forsakest us, and sittest here in this place? For all the prophets thou only art left us, as a cluster of the vintage, and as a candle in a dark place, and as a haven or ship preserved from the tempest. Are not the evils which are come to us sufficient? If thou shalt forsake us, how much better had it been for us, if we also had been burned in the midst of Sion? For we are not better than they that died there. And they wept with a loud voice. Then answered I them, and said, Be of good comfort, O Israel, and be not heavy, thou house of Jacob. For the highest had you in remembrance, and the mighty had not forgotten you in temptation. As for me, I have not forsaken you, neither am I departed from you, but am come into this place to pray for the desolation of Zion, and that I might seek mercy for the low estate of your sanctuary. And now go your way home, every man, and after these days will I come unto you. So the people went their way into the city, like as I commanded them. But I remained still in the field 7 days, as the angel commanded me, and did eat only in those days of the flowers of the field, and had my meat of the herbs. Pass.
Chapter 13. And it came to pass after 7 days, and I dreamed a dream by night. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, and it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men, out of number, from the four winds of the heaven, to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet did fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. Only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude, which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. And when I saw this, I was afraid. Yes.
I just lost my place.
Verse 12.
Thank you. Afterwards saw I the same man come down from the mountain, and call unto him another peaceable multitude. And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, and some of them were bound, and other some brought of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear, and I awakened and said, Thou hast showed thy servant these wonders from the beginning, and hast counted me worthy that thou shouldest receive my prayer. Show me now yet the interpretation of this dream, for as I conceive in mine understanding. Woe unto them that shall be left in those days, and much more woe unto them that are not left behind. For they that were not left were in heaviness. Now understand I the things that are laid up in the latter days, which shall happen unto them, and to those that are left behind. Therefore are they come into great perils, and many necessities, like as these dreams declared past.
Help some water. Thank you for reading. Brother Clark, if you don't mind picking up.
Yeah. Therefore are they come into great perils and many necessities, like as these dreams declare. Yet is it easier for him that is in danger to come into these things than to pass away as a cloud out of the world, and not to see the things that happen in the last days? And he answered unto me and said, The interpretation of the vision which shall I show thee, and I will open unto thee the thing that thou hast required, whereas thou hast spoken of them that are left behind. This is the interpretation. He that shall endure the peril in that time hath kept himself. They that be fallen into danger are such as have works and faith toward the Almighty. Know this therefore, that they which be left behind are more blessed than they that be dead. This is the meaning of the vision, whereas thou sawest a man coming up from the midst of the sea. The same is he whom God the highest hath kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creature, and he shall order them that are left behind. And whereas thou sawest that out of his mouth there came as a blast of wind and fire and storm, that he held neither sword nor any instrument of war, but that the rushing in of him destroyed the whole multitude that came to subdue him. This is the interpretation. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth, and one shall undertake to fight against another, one city fight against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen which I showed thee before. And then shall my Son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have won against another. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of Mount Zion, and Zion shall come and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and builded, like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. And this my Son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of the nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest. And they shall lay before them their evil thoughts, and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor by the law, which is like unto me. And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those of the 10 tribes which are carried away, prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, so they came into another land. They took his counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt, that they may, that they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. Pass.
For the Most High then shewed signs for them, and held still the flood, till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arserath. Then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come. The highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, and they may go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace. But those that be left behind of thy people are they that are found within my borders. Now when he destroyeth the multitude of the nations that are gathered together, he shall defend his people that remain, and then shall he shew them great wonders. Then I said, O Lord, the bearest rule, shew me this. Wherefore have I seen the man coming up from the midst of the sea? And he said unto me, like as thou canst neither seek nor out nor know the things that are in the deep of the sea, even so can no man upon the earth see my son, or those that be with him in the daytime. This is the interpretation of the dream which thou sawest, and whereby thou only art here lightened. For thou hast forsaken thine own way, and applied thy diligence unto my law, and sought it. Thy life hast thou ordered in wisdom, and hast called understanding thy mother. And therefore have I shewed thee the treasures of the highest. After other 3 days I will speak other things unto thee, and declare unto thee mighty and wondrous things. Then went I forth into the field, giving praise and thanks greatly unto the Most High, because of his wonders which he did in time, and because he governeth the same and such things as fall in their seasons. And there I sat 3 days.
Right, and that is the end of the reading for tonight. We do have one more week to finish up this book of Second Ezra, Second Esdras, Fourth Ezra. Another awesome week. We have covered a lot. This a couple different visions, very intricate explanations of those visions. There was quite a bit to discuss. We'll move into an open mic time. Everyone will be able to share any insights that came to them during the reading, emphasize any of the specific verses that stuck out to you. First, Sister Sharon, still make sure that.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay. Did you get some water? Was it just?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
still the dredges of the cold I had last week.
Okay. Hopefully you'll feel very better soon. Thank you so much for still reading with us, though. Yeah.
Thank you. I tried.
No, you got a great. Love hearing you read. So no worries at all. Hopefully you'll feel better. Make sure you get some warm water, honey. Yeah, we'll go ahead and open up the mic. If anyone has anything they would share, feel free to.
Yeah, I need interpretations of the interpretation.
I know, right? Yeah, me too. Seems like there are some things that we can see that makes us kind of like guided to where we can go and find more information. Like they reference Daniel, right? So go and look at Daniel to try to get some more information, but it wasn't ever like, and this is Rome. You know what I mean? Like Daniel was really clear in his interpretations of the beast. He's like, this is Greece and this is Persia, and this is one that comes after, you know. But yeah, here it wasn't like the super clearest interpretations.
I like in chapter 13, just wanted to see if anyone else knew the meaning of where it talks about the 10 tribes when they leave Babylon, that whole area, when they're basically dispersed among the nations. It says they go to a region called Arzaretz, and that just, if you know Eretz, that's land, right? So Arzaretz is like, it just basically means another land, so it's not really specific. But the directions on there are kind of specific because we don't see the directions to any other place on earth from Israel that is a year and a half, except for like in Second Chronicles and in Kings, where it talks about where Solomon got his gold from. So just wanted to make that little tie in there. Yeah.
Yeah, that is really. That was Solomon was before or after? He came like well before that, right?
Yes, like way before the captivity. Right.
But here it
So it
says
would
that they
make
had
sense.
never been. Said that no
Right.
man has ever been there before.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of makes me think that the land that maybe it was some of the last land to appear, like to be uncovered by the flood, and maybe they realized, oh, there's a section of this land that is here. Maybe something to do with the mud flood situation where certain lands appear over time and that are especially low elevation.
Interesting. They're speaking of specifically 10 tribes. I think that Ezra was talking about like every person from all nations, tribes, and tongues. That's what we're told in Revelation about who would be ruling and reigning. I guess everyone's grafted into the 10 tribes, 12 tribes. Not sure what to make of it. I guess that's why I call it the Hebrew Apocalypse. And so there are a lot of things that are that have been written in the text that make me question like how perfect it could be, how valid it could be. Especially, I think it was last week when we talked about. It said, "They that remain shall rejoice within 400 years, and then shall my son Christ die, and all men that have life." It said that for my son Jesus shall be revealed with those that be with him, and they shall remain for 400 years. I don't think the Messiah had a 400-year lifespan. So I don't understand some of the specifics. I definitely believe the Messiah was revealed, was pierced. If he did rise from the dead, but for the whole 400-year thing, some of the very specifics I can't fully interpret, comprehend. Interesting.
Yeah, some of the numbers seem to have a little bit of discrepancy, in some of these readings.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I thought there was quite a few things that related to some of these. The first one where I was reading, we were talking about the beast. I remember thinking, there's going to be a time where that great nation. Oh, I'm trying to find the very specific verse that it talks about. But it reminded me of in Revelation, it says Babylon fallen. Find the exact place. But if anyone here, please.
Well, one thing I love about this text is that, there is a specific mention as to the Son and the involvement of his second advent in bringing judgment to the nations and the world, which is clear, when we get to the Gospels of the New Testament. But as far as the older texts, especially back in the times when the Israelites had received the law and had been taken into Babylon, this was something that had not been written much about, even though in the Targum and in other manuscripts, the Messiah is mentioned and talked about, especially in the book of Enoch. But as far as what we see, with the Battle of Armageddon and all that is revealed within the New Testament scriptures, that was not something that was, much written about. And for that to be included here in Esdras, in this particular manuscript with interpretation, I think that's another one of those, like the Book of Enoch, that is affirmation of, that the Son was known, and that he was revered as part of the Godhead, even though this is excluded, and the Jews of this day and age deny it, and they don't account him as, the fulfillment of their scriptures in the past.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the very clear mention of the Messiah in this text. Definitely a really great point. I did find the verse that I was mentioning in chapter 12, verse 3. It says, "And I saw, and behold, they appeared no more, and the whole body of the eagle was burnt, so that the earth was in great fear." That definitely reminds me, when Babylon is destroyed, single hour, and all the merchants of the earth are crying over her and standing afar off in fright, fear of her torment. So definitely, I would relate this eagle here, Babylon, mystery Babylon.
And with the eagle too, we see that is connected to the United States. With the eagle being a symbol of our nation, and how that comes from the phoenix, which was a feathered serpent. But who knows if that has any association? Because I definitely believe that America is the military arm of Mystery Babylon, as London is the banking arm, and the Vatican is the religious arm, and that Mystery Babylon is like the New World Order, that is a conglomeration of all the leaders of the world, the Freemasons, the secret societies that give blood oath and take up an allegiance to the father of lies, the Illuminati pyramid. So could be, could be some connection with that as well.
Yeah, I know the LDS. I was looking at what some famous commentaries on this. I think the majority of what I saw was people trying to fit different presidents of the U.S. and feathers, trying to get that interpreted. Yeah, I definitely agree. They're part of that Babylon, mother of all the harlots of the earth. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting, where it said that the militaries would be gathered together to subdue him, the Messiah, but they were sore afraid, but they still fought. It said, we see it in chapter 13, verse 8. It said, "And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet they still fought." And can you imagine, like, that's really going to happen? Even now, like these days, our soldiers, when they go fight, most of the wars that we, like, I suppose all the wars that we fight are just banker wars, and people are directed to go, like, fight in these remote areas against people that, like, are so far away and so, like, technologically deficient that they would never really be a threat to us, but they're still sent over there. So a lot of the soldiers kind of have remorse about going and doing their duties. But here, you see the Messiah is like come out of heaven with New Jerusalem, and like established his seat on the earth, and like reigns in like a a lawful and a righteous and a just kingdom for 1,000 years, right? And then the enemy somehow deceives the nations and like still goes to try to fight against him who sits on the throne. You know, of course it says as soon as, you know, they in what did it say? A multitude. I think that it say a multitude, an innumerable multitude is what it said. That and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Could you imagine, like, of course, what do you expect if you're going to try to make war against the creator?
Right, exactly.
Like when Thanos, like, snaps his fingers or whatever, and half the universe, I forget how it went, the Marvel show, and
Right.
like half the universe just is like erased or whatever. That's like all the Messiah really has to do. Like all he has to do is like be present and like
speak a word,
look over there, like cough in their direction, and I am creator. He's infinite. You can't make war against him. How in the world? It's crazy. It just that one point that it said, you know, they were scared, but they still went to fight. Like why? Why would they go to fight? I don't get it. They were sore afraid, but they still went to fight. Like can't imagine. Can't it?
They're his enemies. I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
It's unfathomable. Frightening.
I bet
really.
even Legion, you know.
Yeah,
even
totally.
Legion, they know how powerful he is, and yet they've made a commitment to be the adversary.
Yeah. You know, that's interesting too. Yeah. I was reading in Mark the other day, and at the Gerasenes, the man possessed by Legion, and Yeshua cast him into the swine. They actually requested not to leave the geography, right? I thought that was weird. Anyway, waiting, you know, I was really convicted about some personal things recently, and I was reading through Hebrews 10 again, and 10 verse 13. You know, verse 12 says that he, Christ, having offered one sacrifice for sins for all time, sat down at the right hand of God. And then verse 13, waiting from that time onward until his enemies be made a footstool. Can you imagine that? The people that spit on him and mocked him, they haven't been brought to justice. You know, and it's like, I'm praying for what, you know? But anyway, I thought that related to, you know, the scene of his second coming.
Yeah, definitely. That is an interesting point. The whole Armageddon war thing. You kind of see that like at the beginning of the millennium, like right before, and you also see it afterwards. That war of Armageddon, because that's what I really thought of, you know, in Ezekiel 38 or 39, when it says, "I'll put hook in your jaws," talking about Gog and Magog to come, and that, you know, they would come and try to fight in Israel at that point, and then they would be destroyed, right? Hearing that. So we have a couple minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the best time of the week, so it's fun. Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Be with you. Joining. Thank you everybody for joining. We have a couple minutes left. Any last thoughts anyone would like to share?
Yeah, if I can, please.
Sure.
This chapter 13, verse 16, where it talks about those that are left behind. That's so. When we were in the church, that's what we were taught was the worst thing, to not be caught up in the air, to be left behind, and having to go for the preacher of rapture theology, and so that really hit me when I seen that. Much more woe unto them that are not left behind, and in 1 Thessalonians 4:15 and 17, that was the that was a scripture there that I took to pastors, different pastors, because I didn't understand the whole left behind thing. And for the church, it's like really, really, really bad for those to be left behind. That means you didn't make it to heaven. And I looked up that word remain in 1 Thessalonians 4, 15 and 17, and I took it and I asked some parents, because that word in Greek, remain, is perilepomai, and that means to be left behind or to survive. And they couldn't answer me. And so and now I read it here in verse 16, much more woe unto them that are not left behind. And then it says here, as far as part of the interpretation in verse 24, know this therefore, that they which be left behind are more blessed than they that be dead. So I just thought that was super interesting.
Yeah, that has to be eye-opening, right? Think that
Mhm.
you're more. You would think like, all right, after you pass, like, okay, they're blessed, like, gone, they're not gonna endure. But like here, it's like,
Right.
oh, you're more blessed if you do endure. That's a great point. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. And definitely a great way to end our study for tonight. It's been an awesome read. We do have one more read through 4th Ezra. Please join us next Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'd love to have you participate in the Digital Readers Club over here in the Discord server. If you are catching this on a recording, or if you're joining in the YouTube live stream, please do check out the description box below the video. You can find an invitation link to the Discord server, and you can come participate in the reading. This is also where the Biblical Hebrew class will be taking place, over in the Discord server. You can also follow the live stream on the Hebrew Hawaiian YouTube channel. That one is going to be beginning in about 1 hour. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up our study. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Much love and many blessings to you all. We'll catch you later on throughout the week. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. Much love.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Shalom.
Absolutely.
Aloha. Shalom.
Thanks, y'all. Yeah.
Many truth seekers are constantly studying alone. But there is a place where we can come together. The Digital Readers Club is our online ecclesia meant for those who've forsaken churchianity but still want the closeness of a family to study with. Join us every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time to put together the puzzle pieces of truth scattered throughout the ancient scriptures.